Hello, fellas and fellow readers. This is the story about how Forrest Griffin hates Trevor Wells. No, I'm telling you, watch this story. It really is funny. Every time I think about it, it's still a running joke. Forrest hates Trevor. We tell everyone. So please, also like, comment, share. If you tell me other fighters you want to hear their stories of. I've been in the UFC for getting close to a decade now. If there's any other fighter you want to hear, if I know or if a story with, I usually do. Even if it's not a great story, I've got a good way of making it a good story. But this Forrest Griffin one really is a good story. It's Forrest hates Trevor. So, years ago, when the PI first opened, this would have been the first year, the first 6 months of it being open. I said, you know what? I'm a UFC stud. I'm going to bring my team out there. We're going to get a workout in for a couple days, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I arrange it. We all pack into my van. There's like 9 of us. We're sitting on top of each other. We're going to Vegas, baby. And we get out there. And the UFC, the PI has this thing. If you're coming out, if you're a UFC fighter coming out, they've got hotels that you can rent for next to nothing. So we did that. We rented the UFC hotels. There were like 9 of us. We were sleeping on top of each other just about. But we had a good time, and it was as cheap as we could find. So we were all living in the PI the PI's hotel for a few days. So those of you that know me, I like leaving like the butt crack of dawn. If I want to be there, I want to work out early. I want to leave at like 4 a.m. I just want to get on the road and going because I hate dealing with traffic. I'm a morning person. At night, I crash. I will fall asleep at like 8:30 at night anywhere. But in the morning, you wake me up at any time, I will be fine. So we were on the road early. We got out there, and I think we were the first. I think it opens at 9. We got there at like 9:01. So yeah, let's do it. Now, I didn't know this, but when the PI first started opening, you needed to make, and even now, you needed to call in advance, set up your time zone, set up what part of the PI you want to work out in, and that's just always been the way it is. I didn't know that, and so I just showed up, and they said, well, can you be here? I said, yes. And they said, all right, well, maybe there's no one else coming, so go for it. So we went upstairs, let's say 9 of us. All 9 of us went upstairs. I put us through a hell of a workout. I mean, we were just kicking ass and taking names. We had a real good time. Because it's a weird sport. It's the one sport where you can beat yourselves bloody, and that means it was a good practice. If someone's bleeding by the end, that was a good practice. So we had a great time up there. A hell of a time. It was time to finish, so we went down to the ice bath and hot tub. Now, if you guys ever go with me to maybe that's a competition I'll do with my YouTube. Win a trip with Smile and Sam to the PI. That would be fun. Ooh, I'm going to play with that idea. Maybe when I get to 4,000, I'll fly someone out. But anyways, comment, share, like, and all that. The ice bath, it is rite of passage. If you're going with me to the PI, you're going into an ice bath. It's going to happen. We're putting you in there, and we're going to sit in there for about 20 minutes. Because, I don't know, some guy told me 20 minutes is the appropriate time for an ice bath. So I just run with it. So, wait, 20 minutes it is. For about 3.5 minutes, it's real hard. After the 3.5, it's actually kind of comfortable. You feel kind of good. So we were down there, we did our ice bath, we had our hot tub, we were really recovering down there. And it was a blast. It was a really good time. Afterwards, we're showering off, we're getting changed and everything. I was the first one outside of the locker room, and Forrest Griffin came up to me. He said, hey, Sam, at which point I kind of geeked out. Oh, Forrest Griffin knows who I am. So he said, hey, Sam. I said, yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Forrest. And he said, listen, I know it's early, or it's early in the PI process, but if you want to come, you can't have 9 people. It's written in the bylaws. You're allowed 2, maybe 3 people to come train with you. He said, oh my God, I didn't know. He said, and you have to call in advance. I said, oh, that makes sense, but I'm so sorry, I didn't know. So I was very apologetic. He said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And so I asked him, I said, hey, we're here for another 2 days. Is it all right if we come back in? I'd hate to, go. He said, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Just after this trip, don't do that again. I said, okay. I'm sorry I did it this time. He said, all right, well, you have a great night. I'm going home. So he went home. We all finished showering off and changing and everything. And Trevor came up to me. He said, Sam, I can't get into my locker. My locker, the code isn't working. I said, I know what my code was, but I can't get it to work. said, "Oh, well, that's not good." He said, "You've tried every combination." He said, "Yeah, maybe I hit a wrong button or something." I said, okay. Well, we're gonna go get some lunch at the PI cafeteria." And now the PI cafeteria tastes amazing. I mean, and the food is so good and cheap. You couldn't eat at your house for as inexpensively as you can eat at the PI. It's good stuff. So he said, "Okay, well, listen, I tell you what, we will talk to the front desk, but let's go get some food. We'll come back. We'll get the front desk open." I said, "Okay, that sounds good." We went and got the food. This is where the first time I had the Impossible Burger was there. Impossible Burger tastes like meat. It's not meat, and apparently it's worse for you than meat, but it tastes like meat. The Beyond Burger, not as good, but the Impossible Burger was great. So we all ate. We came back. He still couldn't get into his locker. So I went and talked to the front desk. "Hey, front desk, my boy here, he locked his stuff in there. Can you unlock it?" They said, "Dude, we can't unlock it." I said, "Really?" He said, "How come?" I said, "Well, it's not, we don't have the codes. Forrest Griffin does." I said, "Oh, all right." He said, "And Forrest isn't coming back?" He said, "No, Forrest is at home." He said, "Oh, we could call him. He could come back." I said, Trevor's sitting here, he's like, "What?" So we said, "Sam, all of my stuff is there. I have my wallet, my phone, but all my clothes, my shoes, everything's in that locker." He said, I need it." I said, "Okay." So we called Forrest Griffin. Well, the PI called Forrest Griffin. And now I'm sure Forrest was at home in his underwear, eating Cheetos, watching sports, or doing whatever Forrest does on his off days. And he came back in, and he got back. It's after yelling at me for having too many people. This is after yelling at me for not making the right calls beforehand. And he went home, came back in, unlocked the locker for Trevor. He said, Here you go." His stuff wasn't in it. Trevor's stuff wasn't in the locker. Trevor remembered the wrong locker. So Forrest unlocked it and beelined out. He said, "I'm gone. Dude, have a good night." Trevor opened the locker and his stuff wasn't there. So no, his stuff was 2 doors down, 2 lockers over, and he couldn't open that one either. He couldn't remember the code for either locker, and Forrest Griffin had just left a second time. So Trevor decides, you know what? I'm just not going to get my stuff. This is my contribution to the UFC PI. I'm not calling Forrest Griffin again. And said, Forrest already hates me. It was his day off, or he was at home relaxing. He had to come back in for me. He said, I'm not calling him again. I'm just leaving my shoes, leaving everything. I said, okay, I guess. If that's what you want. He said, yeah, that's what we're doing. So he left his stuff there. And to this day, if you ever see Trevor Wells, if you ever know him, you can tag him or find him on Instagram or whatever. I think it's Trevor_Wells. He said, Forrest hates Trevor. And to this day, anytime I'm at the PI with Trevor, I make sure to find Forrest. And I say, Forrest, hey, you remember this thing happened? And Forrest doesn't, but he said, okay. He said, go give Trevor shit. Just say, this is that guy, huh? Yeah. And Forrest does. Every time I'm there with Trevor, Forrest goes and gives Trevor shit for bringing him back in that once 6 years ago. And the funniest thing about the next day we were back at the PI, the door just opened and he got all the stuff out anyway. So he didn't actually make a donation to the gym, but he got everything back the next day. Forrest hates Trevor, and yeah, it was so much fun. And to this day, Forrest Griffin hates Trevor Wells.